Hello my dear friend Spock. I am Abu, the leader of the legendary Na'vi tribe from the planet of Pandora. We were very saddened to hear of the plight of the Vulcans, and we have pledged our full support to you all. On the topic of reproduction, we believe we can give our insights and help them repopulate. As Na'vi, we reproduce sexually, and we believe you all should adopt the same method. However, our younger brothers from another mothers, the Kaminoan, believe in asexual reproduction. In this presentation, we will address the various issues of these two types of reproduction and apply them to the situation your people are facing today. Let us firstly recap what has happened to the Vulcans. After an attack by the Narada, 6 billion inhabitants perished, leaving behind only 10,000 Vulcans. Today, they are facing crisis as their planet has been destroyed and they have been left defenseless on a new home world. Right now, their main priorities are to rebuild their race and establish themselves in their new home world while building a strong army to protect themselves.
Our proposal is that 2/3 of the Vulcan population should reproduce via sexual reproduction and the remaining 1/3 through asexual reproduction, for reasons to be explained later. Firstly, in order to actually come to an agreement on which method of reproduction to choose, we must firstly truly understand the definitions of them. Sexual reproduction involves specialized sex cells called gametes. The union of a male and female gamete results in the formation of a zygote that develops into a new individual. An example of sexual reproduction is in the diagram below of human sexual reproduction. The male gamete, the sperm cell, fuses with the female gamete, the egg cell, to make the zygote, the embryo, and ultimately a human baby. The process of sexual reproduction involves meiosis, the special cell division that makes haploid gametes. Then fertilization occurs, which is the fusion of two gametes to form a diploid zygote.
Sexual reproduction brings certain benefits to you, which includes much variation within a species, thus bring greater biodiversity and a small chance of inbreeding, which may have damaging consequences. It encourages natural selection when the best traits from parent organisms are passed to their children. It would allow for a more adaptation for you as well as your race to a new home world, which there would be a different environment. Immunity to new disease in the new environment would be developed along with natural selection. A greater biodiversity also leads to a higher level of genetic material, which encourages a gains in species intelligence, which may lead to a greater advances for new Vulcan civilization. Is sexual reproduction absolutely beneficial? And does it have any limitations? Yes, there are few. Sexual reproductions require time and energy on the part of parents or organism, and only one offspring is produced in most of the case. Fertilization is not guaranteed as well. Due to these limitations, if you only rely on sexual reproductions, the 7-year gap between mating periods may not be sufficient to produce enough offspring to propagate the populations and build a strong army. Therefore, we feel that only 2/3 of the population should reproduce sexually. To solve the problems that the limitation of sexual reproduction pose, we propose the limited use of asexual reproductions for the purpose of defense.
Basically, asexual reproduction is the mode of production by which one individual organism produces offspring that are genetically identical to it. It involves mitosis process during which a mitotic cell will divide. Thus, the offspring cells will have exactly the same genetic material compared with the parent. Here are some pictures that demonstrate the process of mitosis. There are some outstanding advantages for using this method of reproduction. Basically, asexual reproduction involves only one parent, Thus, it requires less time and energy to reproduce massively. The genetic material of the offspring is identical to its parent. Thus, the quality of genetic material is maintained for generations. It leads to the fact that in a stable environment, asexual reproduction can help create a large and thriving population. So how can these things be beneficial in your case? It takes less time. Yay! Shorter period of time will be taken to build up a large army. As it requires a short period of time to reproduce asexually, 1/3 of you are enough to build a strong army in a short period of time. And this strong army will help in your race's defense in the future. The quality of the army is also ensured as we choose the best falcons to go for asexual reproduction. So with such promising effects, why don't we consider asexual reproduction to be the main method of reproduction? Yes, asexual reproduction does pose harm to the falcon race due to its limitations.
Asexual reproduction passes the exact genetic code from generation to generation. There are limited genetic variations between generations. Thus, there is no evolution of the species. With very little gene variation within the species, healthy reproduction becomes increasingly difficult, and offspring often deal with similar problems to those of inbreeding. If the asexual reproducers are vulnerable to the environmental changes, they can die, and so will the rest of their offspring because they inherited the exact same disabilities that the parent organism had. The ability to adapt to new environment is limited when the environment is changed, then causes a massive die-off. In your context, as you need to migrate to a new planet due to the destruction of your own planet, your living environment has been changed. Thus, ability to adapt is of great importance to your survival. Therefore, relying solely on asexual reproduction is not a wise idea. If so, it causes danger to the survival of your race. After weighing the benefits and limitations of both asexual and sexual reproduction, we find that the combination of both methods will benefit you most in their process of rebuilding their race in a new planet. We hope that these two methods can make you live long and prosper. Presented to you by Officers Abhishek, Darshana, Check-in, and the end.